from LPI Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. It's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard Robertson.
Kobe retiring, making this the farewell tour.
Jennifer Conroy.
We were just talking about Ali, is that he was engaged in what people would consider a violent sport.
And the magnificent Larry Robinson.
It's really hard to plan for a game against Golden State Warriors because they play such a non-traditional form of basketball.
It's R&R on Sports.
I'm loving this.
Hey, yo, Doug.
What?
Put your ballies on.
Yo, Rick, I was about to, but I need the shoe home.
Why?
Because the shoes always hurt my toe.
Hello, we're back, and welcome to a little R&R on Sports. I'm Uncle Howard.
I am the fantastic, the amazing, the fantabulous one, Larry Robinson. What's up, America?
How come your voice started going up when you went, the fantabulous? Started getting real princess.
Well, that was
Princey.
my homage. That was my homage to Michael Jackson and Prince.
Okay.
Every now and then, I have to hit them other octaves.
And Smokey Robinson and everybody else that sings high. How you doing?
Man, I'm wonderful, brother. It's a fantastic weekend.
Absolutely. Always.
Yeah,
Any on this side of the dirt.
Where my girl? Where our girl at, man? Where our girl? What's up, man? What you do with our girl?
Last thing I saw was car was smoking.
A car was smoking. Smoking what?
I think it said car was smoking.
Oh,
something
she
was
didn't
smoking.
Say she was smoking.
There was some smoking going on. So she'll be back with us. I was gonna acknowledge.
No,
her too. I mean, you had Cleveland in 7, and she had Cleveland. I don't know if she.
She said 6.
She said 6.
Yeah,
Cleveland
she said
6.
6.
Okay. Either way, y'all
I keep
were
telling
correct,
y'all respect.
and
the
I was
Nostradamus-ness.
wrong. I did indeed have Golden State repeating, and that did not happen. So all props.
Well, thank you,
Okay?
sir. I
All
appreciate
props.
that.
You got
I
one
appreciate
right.
that. No, see, I think people need to see the intricacies of my Nostradamus-ness.
See.
And the fact
See.
that the
That's
fact
why
of
you
the
don't
matter
win
is,
often.
The
That's
fact
why
of the
you
matter
don't know
is,
how to handle it.
you don't understand how the fact that I said 7 Cleveland, because I knew that Cleveland was going to win on Golden State's court.
Did you know they were going to make history?
I knew. No, I did not know that. I did not know that.
First team.
You know what? But you know
come
what?
back from 3-1 down.
My thing was with the 3-1, I still said I can't go against the king. I mean, this dude has so much riding on that.
It was pressure.
If he had to score 50 points a game, I believe he would have done it.
I got a partner that says pressure busts a steel drum, and pressure was. I could see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
I could see it late in the fourth quarter when they were tied up and all of that. I could see it on his face, and then he had a few possessions that were just dog. I mean, just ugly.
Well, I tell you what,
nasty.
though. Now, the one person that
Shoulda
stepped
given it up
that I didn't think was going to step up like they did was Kyrie.
Kyrie?
Man, boy,
I mean, you must have been lying. You must have been lying then, because you were saying he was the truth.
Well, I think he's the truth, but come on now. You didn't think that he was going to abuse Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson like he did. I mean, Klay Thompson is one of the best defense. He may be the number 1 two-guard defenders in the league, and I mean, he abused them boys.
Yeah,
I mean, he abused them boys.
Yeah,
and I mean,
he absolutely.
I've got the world of respect.
He
for
put
Kyrie,
on them what they normally put on other folk.
But I'm gonna say this: don't sleep on Golden State.
Oh, Golden
don't
State
sleep on Golden State. Stephon Curry and Draymond Green. They're going to be back with a vengeance.
I believe that.
They're going to be back with a vengeance, but I don't know if Steve Kerr is as good a coach as we've thought he was, because I'm not sure, because he seemed to break, and I don't know if that was Alvin Gentry leaving and going to the Pelicans, but he seemed to be kind of shaky.
I know one thing. He ought to stay clean shaven. He right before the last game, he looked homeless. He looked homeless. And with that, we are going to get out of here and give you a chance to LMAO, but we'll be right back on the other side of this. Don't go anywhere.
this is Shaq Adocious. And when I'm in town, I'm always listening to Howard and Larry on R&R on Sports.
Welcome to Motivational Moments from the Greater Cliche Fellowship Assembly, where everything sounds like you've heard it all before.
He's the Reverend Repetitious R.Y.
And he's my Deacon Redundancy Brown. Now, you know, friends, just when you think this life is a slam dunk, something can come out of left field and go oops upside your head. Say oops upside your head.
The bigger the headache, the bigger the pill. The bigger the pill, Reverend.
Bad luck and heartache can pin you against the ropes. They don't pull no punches either. They hit you with everything they got. Everything but the kitchen sink.
Beat you like a runaway slave. Kunta or Toby or one of them.
And then you might go down.
Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier.
But you got a friend who'll let you be down but not out. You got a friend who won't let you be down for the count because it ain't over till it's over.
Wow.
It ain't over till that big whoppity greasy fat lady sings.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
You other brothers can't deny.
My baby got back.
And that's when it's gut check time. Don't let them throw you under the bus. Remember, the best defense is a good offense.
Absolutely.
Get in the game.
It's in the game.
Don't hate the player, Pastor. Hate the game.
Why drink from the bitter cup of defeat when you can enjoy that sweet taste of victory?
Victory!
Sipping on some gin and juice.
Laid back.
The ball is in your court, and it's time to swing for the fences and knock it out the park.
At the wall, see ya!
Just throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care.
Now, if you do these things, friends, I guarantee your good luck and prosperity will go through the roof.
The roof! The roof! The roof is on fire! We don't need no water like the mother.
This has been another motivational moment where everything sounds like you heard it all before. He's Deacon Redundancy Brown.
And he's Reverend Repetitious R.Y. from the Greater Cliche Fellowship Ass.
That's Assembly, fool.
R&R on Sports with ICONversation.
The Executive Director of the NBA Players Association, Ms. Michelle Roberts.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Ken Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Catch ICONversation, part of the Katsuki Network.
Hey, this is Ice. I'm the original gangster. And whenever I'm hanging out with Coco, when we just chilling on Saturdays, we always listening to Howard and Larry on R&R on Sports. You know what I'm saying?
I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster.
And we are back, and everybody that knows anything about R&R knows how we always start this party with Top of Mind.
Top of my mind.
Just once, I wish. Just once.
Man, I'm telling you, that's a staple in the show, bro.
You feel me? Just once, I wish. We could get through this without this boy guy. Anyway. I wanted to say something. We were talking about No, let's talk about this first. Let's talk about this first. We talked about Muhammad Ali and the significance of his life and whatnot, but we did not and have not talked about how
he went home
royally he was celebrated in in his
Did you check
services.
Out Billy Crystal's speech?
Not all of it.
Oh man,
of it.
I didn't know that he and Billy Crystal were so close.
They were tight. Billy Crystal does the best imitation of Ali than anybody on the planet.
You know, the fact that he called him his little brother and he called Ali his big brother, I had no idea that they were that tight. And it was so much gravitas to what he was saying about Ali. It was so heavy, so important, because it gave so much context to his life. It really made my heart smile to see that the effect that he had for people all over the world, from the Will Smiths, the President Clinton to the rabbis, and man, I mean, when have you seen such a – well, you know what? Before we have that conversation, let's let Harry Edwards next week let's let him kind of talk to us.
He
about
can give us a first-hand view. He was there, and he will be with us next week on R&R, and he will talk about that. Ali got sent off like the global icon that he was.
That he is.
That he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Harry Edwards was there, and he's going to talk to us. We're going to have him on next week, so you guys tune in for that.
Absolutely.
Finals. I just want to say that I think it should be acknowledged that LeBron James achieved his goal. I think there's so many.
Is he going to stay?
I think so. Yeah.
You think he's going to stay?
Yes. He stays.
What do you think the effect would be if he left? I mean, because he could always say, well, see, that's one of the things I want to talk about.
It's going to be disappointment again, and the folk in Cleveland
you think they're going to burn his jersey
I don't think
and all
they
that?
do. I don't know. I don't think they do all that.
And
but
it goes back to.
They would not be happy.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people would be sad about that, especially those 1.3 million people that showed up downtown Cleveland.
I don't think there's any chance of that happening.
Well, you think there's going to be any major changes to Cleveland next year?
Not major.
You think Kevin Love will be there?
I do.
I do too. But I think they're going to be better because I think they've gotten a chance to kind of go through some adversity.
Yeah.
And they bonded.
Now, if they had lost, all bets would have been off.
Oh yeah.
You know.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Kyrie is their leading scorer next year.
Yeah, but they want. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's
this
there.
kid showed up and showed out,
but
in a big way.
Speaking of leading scores and leading rebounders and leading assists,
yes,
LeBron led every major statistical category for both teams. That's never happened in history, but you still got people hating on him, saying that he didn't deserve to be the MVP of the series.
Kyrie needed to be MVP of the series. I've heard that. But no, I mean series wide. There's no question about that. He led points, rebounds, steals, block shots. That should have been as unanimous as Steph MVP was. Don't get me started. We see how unanimous he is now. We need to have another vote. No, one time only. But they had big parade, big celebration in Cleveland. Congratulations, Cleveland. Congratulations. We can relate down here in Memphis. You guys at least hadn't had one in 50 years. We hadn't had one in forever. We're going to change that. So we're going to change that. I mean, in anything. So that's a whole nother conversation. I've challenged our intern to bring us home an NCAA championship next year and get Tubby his number 2. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about Derek. Now, to me, going east, it gives me a problem because I have a problem with the fact that no one is saying anything about the Chicago Bulls getting rid of Derrick Rose. And then when LeBron left Cleveland after his contract was over, everybody and their mama had a problem. Didn't we already talk about it? No, we didn't talk about it with America. So America, I'm trying to figure out how y'all going to be upset with LeBron leaving at the end of his contract, but not be upset with the Chicago Bulls trading its hometown hero, Derrick Rose, after he's won Rookie of the Year, after he's won an MVP, after he's brought the franchise back from obscurity. Why ain't anybody saying anything? Because the brother was hurt a couple years? And I'm trying to explain to you. Well, explain it. I'm trying to explain to you. I'm listening to you, Linda. The huge difference between Chicago, the city of Chicago, and the city of Cleveland. The city of Chicago has indeed experienced success, sports championships, and success. Even if you just go back to the Bulls, since Cleveland had. Cleveland is a heck of a lot more authoritative, if you want to put it like that. And with LeBron leaving, to them, in their minds, their hope just walked out and walked to South Beach, or he left to go to South Beach. And, you know, they reacted badly. They were, especially Dan Gilbert. Reacted really badly. Especially Dan Gilbert. Yeah. But, hey,
I noticed there was no
all
pictures.
This forgotten now.
Did you see any pictures of LeBron hugging Dan Gilbert?
No. I saw Dan Gilbert hugging a trophy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
but I was waiting for that moment of seeing an exchange between Dan Gilbert and LeBron.
Yeah,
and there was
that happened in private.
Yeah.
If it happened at all.
Kiss the ring.
If it happened at all.
Remember our LMAO? Go back through the archives and check out the LMAO.
That's right.
With LeBron and Dan Gilbert.
Here's a question for you. Do you think, I see where Melo, Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy Butler and DeAndre Jordan are going to Brazil to play, Rio to play in the Olympics.
I think
however,
Rory
McIlroy is not, championship golfer is not. Do you think it's going to be a problem?
Absolutely.
In terms of primo athletes that are going to choose to sit out the 2016 Olympics?
Absolutely. I think Melo's going to drop out.
You think Melo's going to drop out?
He's going to drop out. Just watch it. Watch my words. Listen to me now. I'm Nostradamus. So you got Melo's going to drop out. I think Chris Paul's not going to participate at all. I think a lot of your elite athletes that's already done the Olympic experience, had the Olympic experience, I think they're going to drop out. I think Paul George is going because of the fact that, he broke his leg last year, a couple years ago. What is that? A little while ago, actually. Broke his leg, very horrific, in the Olympic trials, and I think that kind of is going to be cathartic for him to kind of go back through that.
It's going to be interesting to see. It has already affected the attendance. They were projecting 200,000, over 200,000 in attendance. Now the number is over 100,000.
Now you talking about a worldwide pandemic. I mean, think about this. The Zika virus is transmitted human to human.
Yeah.
Human to human. So you look at that and the fact that you got people that's going to come there from all over the world and then take it back all over the world.
But not if they are my age. So anybody that's got tickets and you're not using it because you're a young person and you're afraid, I ain't going to have no more babies. So I will gladly.
You sure about that?
I will gladly.
You sure you ain't going to have no more babies?
Well, I could, but my wife. I'm married to an old baby.
I'm going to make sure and let her hear that.
Let her hear. I ain't scared of her. And with that, we're going to get out of here and come back to you on the other side with ICONversation. Don't go anywhere. This is the best thing you're going to hear all weekend.
Hi, it's Junior Bridgman from Louisville, Kentucky, and you're listening to R&R on Sports.
Yes, I can. Doubt, better leave. I'm running with this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the bucket, can't have me. I'll be the president one day. January 1st. Oh, you like that gossip? Like you the one drinking what gossip.com. Now I got a word for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want? Yeah, I got a brand new spirit speaking and it's done. Woke up on the side of the bed like I won. Talk like the wind in my chest.
And we're back with ICONversation, and today we're tremendously excited to have the editor-in-chief of the Undefeated, ESPN's new digital platform. Welcome to R&R on Sports, Mr. Kevin Merida. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Kevin, you grew up in the D.C. area, right?
Yes.
Graduated from Boston University, and you were a journalist for an editor at the Dallas Morning News and the Milwaukee Journal, and started working Started working at the Washington Post in '93, and in 2013, named managing editor of the Washington Post. So now,
that's right.
Being a black man, my Pulitzer Prize finalist brother, how does one position to one's wife that one is leaving a long-term, powerful, prestigious position at the Washington Post to go with a new, unproven thing? Should one start the conversation with, "Hey, baby, guess what I did today?"
Well, everything has to be proven at some point. You have to constantly, demonstrate you can do things, right? I mean,
right.
Everybody had to start someplace. Whatever your profession or if you're a painter, you had to paint for the first time. I mean, I think that this is, my wife knows I like to invent and had a really entrepreneurial and creative, interest in lots of things, and
right.
And I thought that, hey, here's a chance to do something new. It reminded me of when we were at Boston University, and we were, a small group of us started a black newspaper on that campus during that time, and it was really exhilarating to start that and to experiment with it, and so I thought I'd have the same kind of fun trying to do this,
right.
And I thought it would be challenging, and I thought it would be a lot of fun.
Outstanding.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're talking with editor-in-chief of the new property of ESPN, Mr. Kevin Merida. Kevin, I want to know, how does it feel going from, say, an entity that Washington Post just been taken over by Amazon, but now you're going to a place where they are at the forefront of digital and technology, texting, mobile, all of that. Do your eyes light up and get big, or how do you feel about making such a move to such a huge mothership, so to speak?
Well, look, I think we're living in a digital world. The every business is digital. And right. Everybody's trying to reach new audiences and build communities using the tools of the internet. So we're blessed that way. And we were doing it at the Washington Post. We were constantly experimenting, and we were able to do some great things with thanks to Jeff Bezos' money,
right?
Mm-hmm. And just so you know, he bought that himself out of his own pocket. It wasn't Amazon.
Okay.
And so to go to a place like ESPN, as big as the Washington Post is as a newsroom, and as a company, ESPN. We were leading a newsroom of 700, and ESPN has like 7,000 employees. So
right.
it's a really had so many products, so many opportunities to collaborate with colleagues to develop work. We were just having lunch with the Undefeated staff with my colleagues who run ESPN Films and talking about things we might do together. And so you just have lots of opportunities to experiment with form, and that was really exciting to me.
Now, the Undefeated is described as the intersection of sports, race, and culture. Could you please explain to our listeners how the name Undefeated came about?
It was something that I inherited, and I considered it a gift, because the name comes from a Maya Angelou quote.
Okay.
In which he talks about, you may encounter many defeats, but, we will not be defeated. And that it may be necessary to be defeated to really discover who you are,
right.
So that you develop how it is to rise up and overcome. And I think it's in part the story of the struggle of African Americans in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of our audience. So African Americans will certainly relate to that, but it's also a sports. It's also a sports metaphor, because
right.
you're going to lose some games. If you lose an NBA championship that you maybe thought you were going to win, as LeBron James did at first when he went to Miami, couldn't get over that when Dallas beat them, and so. But he was able to come back and win 2 championships after that, and
right.
and I think that athletes understand. Every time we see March Madness and after the championship, part of my favorite part is
one shining moment,
right? you see the exhilaration on the kids' faces when they hit the big shot, and then you see the dejection
right.
when you lose that, and we're going to go through that, but it doesn't define us. It doesn't. It's not the end of the story, right? It's usually only part of the story, and sometimes just the beginning of the story. So I think the Undefeated, we're going to be brave. We're going to be, as you said earlier in the introduction, not conventional, never boring. We're going to be try to be unpredictable, and also try to really experiment and innovate in the space that we'll occupy.
That's awesome. This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Editor-in-Chief of the Undefeated, Kevin Merida. Kevin, how did y'all end up using a Christian rapper as the person to produce the theme song for the new property? D1.
So D1 is, like you said, a New Orleans rapper, but he was somebody that Jesse Washington, one of our writers, had met and began to have a conversation. I mean, one of the things we wanted to do that we talked about doing was really producing work that said what the Undefeated was going to be, and that was going to be through music. We're doing a poetry series coming up.
Awesome.
And so it was really the result of Jesse Washington making a relationship. It turned out that D1 is somebody that Steph Curry likes, apparently, and they had some relationship. But I thought he did a great job. I love that song.
Fantastic.
Everybody says it's inspiring. And,
it is.
And we did that video. We shot that in New Orleans with Marquise Daisy of ESPN Films and Jesse. They're basically the producers of that work, and I thought it was tremendous.
Now, you mentioned your staff and Jesse Washington. Jesse's been involved in music and writing and journal. He's been a journalist since way back in the day when I met him at Yale University. But what I wanted to ask you is, who are some of the other people that, because you guys have poached a lot of people, you've kind of gone around and stole a whole bunch of talent.
Man, we're recruiting, we're building a team, so just like, Gold State Warriors had to be built,
All right.
Built to get to be 73-9. So we building our own 73-9 teams.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Kevin Merida of the Undefeated. Kevin, the last question. All right, we're going to set the scenario. They're introducing you in front of a full stadium as the editor-in-chief of the Undefeated. The crowd's going wild. Every hero has theme music. When you're walking to the middle of the court, what's your theme music?
That's a great one. I'm going to say something that's going to totally shock you. You're going to have to go back and get it. I'm going to say Brazilian Wedding Dance by Quincy Jones version. You got to go back and look at the Quincy Jones.
Oh, man. That might be the most obscure ever.
I remember that. So what album was it on?
Man, now you're taxing my memory, but I'm going to tell you it was going to be my wedding music. And we had a little discussion, me and my wife, and she won this one. So I didn't get to have that at my wedding as my dance, but it because we had.
Was that the one that Take Six did?
Oh man, I don't know, but look it up.
Okay.
Brazilian Wedding Dance. I'll find it and I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
You give me your email.
We can get it. We can get it.
You can find it, right? Brazilian Wedding Dance, Quincy Jones.
All right.
And I have a lot of great respect for Quincy Jones. Let me just say that.
Definitely. Kevin, we want to thank you for being here with us on ICONversation here on R&R on Sports. All the best, and we want to urge everybody to check out the Undefeated.
It launches when? When does it launch?
Right.
May 17th.
May 17th. On our listeners, May 17th. Support this brother. Support his staff, an amazing staff of writers. You're going to see some of the best writing in the country coming from this property. And
we want to have you back here on R&R on Sports. Would you do that for us?
Anytime. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And we're going to be back with more R&R on Sports right after this.
The mountains top, walk on water. I got power, feel so royal. 1 second, I'ma strike for you. Diamond, platinum, no more for you. That adrenaline, never giving in. Giving up's not an option, gotta get it in.
Hey, this is Shaq Adocious. And when I'm in town, I'm always listening to Howard and Larry on R&R on Sports.
Welcome back to R&R and ICONversation. Today, the Icon is one of the top college recruiters in all the land. I'm talking about lead recruiter and receivers coach for the Oklahoma Sooners, Dennis Simmons. Dennis, welcome to R&R on Sports.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Great.
Man, it's our pleasure, brother. It's our pleasure.
We're glad to have you. Now, I
gotta get it. I gotta get right to it, man. How does a brother from Memphis, Tennessee, go to BYU? I need to know, how do you do that?
Really, God. It was our at the time the offensive coordinator at BYU. His daughter lived right around the corner from Kirby High School, and I just happened to be on the news one night.
You went to Kirby?
Volta. Yeah, I went to Kirby, man. I'm a product of East Haven,
all right.
Kirby High School. I happened to be on the news that one night. She was talking to her father and was like, "Hey, we got a kid right around the corner from our house that's been on the news a couple of times, pretty good. You ought to come check him out." He came down. At the time, I was like a lot of the other high school kids there. I didn't really have a favorite college football team. Didn't really watch. On Saturdays I was out working or doing something else or playing. So I didn't really have a team that I just followed. And so when it came time for me to really kind of decide where I wanted to go, I mean, there was a foundation of, okay, I'm an SEC guy or I fit here. Some of the kids in our district, those, good players such as Ronald Davis and Kendrick all had went up to the University of Tennessee. So
right.
I was like, maybe I'll follow in their footsteps, just do that. I knew I didn't want to stay at home and go to the University of Memphis. I just felt like I needed, to get out and see the world and wanted to do that. So
you decided to go from one home of the Saints to the Latter-day Saints.
Well, wait a minute. I'm sure the SEC teams came after you hard in a big way, right?
Yeah, I was recruited by Vanderbilt. I had some early conversations with the University of Alabama, but I mean, like I said, it was one of those situations. I wanted to get away from home more so than to stay in the area.
Well, you did that.
Just felt like, I wanted to get out and see some places. And, honestly, BYU wasn't where I thought my destination was.
Right.
Hey, man, I'm telling you.
That was actually my last visit, and I was like, one of my high school coaches was like, "Hey, man, you go out there. You might meet Karl Malone." And I was like, "Okay." And then, of course, they send you the itinerary, and you look at it, and I saw that, one of the activities that we were going to do was go snowmobiling. So I was like, "Hey, I've never done that before."
Right.
At all out worse, I'll take the trip just to be able to say, I've experienced that. And I got out there and met Coach Ellers. And, just felt like he was a genuine person, and it was more than just football with him. It was, I want to help you transition from young adult to adulthood. And, I'll be honest with you, I got out there and I saw their roster. I was like, well, I know I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
And when they told me that they go to Hawaii, I was like, hey, I'm in.
This might be okay.
Absolutely. This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Dennis Simmons, receivers coach for the Oklahoma Sooners, all the way out west.
Now it sounds like the experience was good. The experience at BYU was good for you. You got exposed to a lot of stuff you wouldn't have, and the people treated you well.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. I was as a young guy there in Memphis. And they had an opportunity to do what I did, I would highly encourage you.
Right.
There's very few times in life that, for me, you get a chance to step out of your foundation, your upbringing, and your values and go and look at someone else's. And what it did for me was just reaffirm, all of the things that, I learned from my mom, I learned from my teachers, back at Kirby, and I learned from, even the big dudes in the neighborhood.
Right.
Just, reaffirmed the foundation and the things that being a Memphian provides you and teaches you.
from a recruiting standpoint, do you have like a model or a template that you look for some of these qualities in some of the recruits?
I wouldn't necessarily say that we have a model or a template. The first thing you look at is, how well the kid plays. And then the second thing that you definitely look at is, his mentality. A guy with a bad mentality and talent is no different than a guy that has no talent at all. So, if we had to say that, a template or a model, you definitely want someone that's, competitive, hungry, mentally tough, and got a why. I think that's the term most people use now, or have a passion or something that they're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That attitude means a lot, right?
It means a ton.
That sounds awesome. How was it with Mike Crabtree? What was it like coaching someone that's been so successful in the NFL?
Easy, because he had a lot of those qualities that we just touched on, from with Mike, and I've shared this with other kids before. Mike was one of the first kids that I ever met at the age of 16, 17, and 18. He was preparing it. He was living his life as if he was a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if it wasn't, if it was an activity that was going to go down and it wasn't, helping him in any form or fashion of getting him into the NFL, he went down to do it. So, there's a lot of times that, guys after the game, want to go out and all of that stuff. He was on a different level. If he went out, it was an event because he didn't do it so often.
We just got through having that same conversation with our intern here, who is a big basketball player at the University of Memphis, and we were talking about that very thing. Talk about how important it is from your perspective as a recruiter for to see that kind of maturity and to see that kind of work ethic in a young person already, as if they are, to your point, they are assuming the role and the position even before of a pro, even before they get there.
Well, like anything in life, if you wait till it's time to do it, then you're probably a step behind the curve. A lot of people, and, I talk to our players about this here quite often. A lot of people say they want to do things in life, but very few people want to put the sweat equity and the work in trying to accomplish those things. That's why people pay the money that they pay to show up to watch them play on Saturday.
Right.
Because, they're expecting to see you do something that a lot of times they couldn't do themselves on a consistent basis. So, that's the value that you bring to the table, while they will invest their hard-earned, dollars and time into coming to watch you. So, with the guys here, you play the games
right
in October, September, and November, but you win the games in June and July out there in the sun when nobody's watching. And that was one of the things that separated not only just Crab but Graham. Those guys would go out, like I said, on Saturday morning. It was never uncommon to go up to the facilities and see them out there with a trainer and a water bottle just running routes. So, it's second nature in the game when things hit the fan, and, Graham didn't necessarily decipher the coverage. He knew if I throw it in 5 direction, he's going to bail me out because he did it so often.
Wow. That's awesome.
In the summertime when nobody was looking, so when the lights came on, it was second nature.
When it was showtime.
Talk about the catch in the Texas game. We ran the same play 5 times down the field.
Wow.
He threw it to Crab the last 2. The thing that people forget, he threw it on the other side, a vertical on the other side to a kid named Edward Britton that wore number 27 that almost got picked. Edward was wide open.
Wow.
Crab was double covered on the one that he caught.
Right.
This is R&R Sports, and we're speaking with Dennis Simmons, receivers coach for the Oklahoma Sooners. So, Dennis, what do you see going forward? Are you going to make that? Do you ultimately plan to make that transition to the NFL after your tenure at the college level?
Honestly, I think every coach kind of is curious about it. My current goal, honestly, is I just want to be the best receiver coach in the college game. I've been able to be blessed enough to be around some great football minds, such as Lavelle Edwards, Norm Child, Mike Leach, now Lincoln Riley, Dana Holgerson. I mean, the list goes on. And, from each one of those guys, I've, learned and picked and kind of fine-tuned things and the way I would do it. So, I mean, my goal right now is just to be the best at what I do. Now, if that transitions me an opportunity into the NFL, and it matches up financially and all of those other things that you have to do when you have a family, then yes, I'll definitely pursue that avenue. But I'm with great people right now, and in this profession, as many hours as you spend at the job, much like yours, if you're around great people, you kind of want to hold on to that.
Now
I'm not around great people. I'm really not.
Yes, you are.
Literally.
Yes, you are.
Literally.
You're just a hater.
Guys up.
You're just a hater. But I got to ask him this. I have to ask you this. That sounded really, really good. But let me ask you real serious question, Dennis. Do you feel, particularly given the relative lack of African American.
I know where you're going with
I know you do. I know you do. And go with me. I need you to go with me. The relative lack of African American coaches at the major college level. Do you feel any inclination at all to become a head coach at that level?
Of course.
All right.
Of course. I definitely will want to, one day love to run my own program, and like the gentleman that I've learned from. I mean, obviously, I feel like I've been under the tutelage of some guys that've been very successful, and I feel like if God provides me with that opportunity, that I could be very successful. But I mean, the biggest thing that I've learned from those guys is, and sometimes as African American coaches, we kind of get pigeonholed or kind of get duped into that situation. I'm not going to take a job just to say that I'm a head coach. I'm going to take a job that's going to be a great fit for me, that gives me an opportunity to be a successful head coach.
Cool. And with that, Dennis Simmons, we want to thank you for being here on R&R with us. One thing we always ask, I mean, we're like the Cosa Nostra. You can't really get out. So will you agree to come back and be with us at some point in the future?
Sure. Anytime I could do anything for someone from Memphis, the city of Memphis, I'm always, game to do that. So anytime you guys call, definitely, know that the answer will be yes.
Appreciate
our boy Troy Watson is going to be extremely happy to know that you're going to be on the show.
Well, your boy Troy Watson was a big part of who I am today, and guys like that you definitely appreciate, because in this profession people do as you do, more so as you say, and I learned a lot from him, and guys like Reginald Owens. I learned a lot from those guys. So anytime that I can make them proud, it makes me feel like I'm taking a step in the right direction.
Troy's a good brother. Thank you, and we will be back with more R&R on Sports right after this.
Hello, everybody. This is Tim Brown, 2015 NFL Hall of Fame inductee, and you are listening to R&R on Sports.
Now we got this stick that will set you free. All you got to do is...
And we've come to the conclusion of yet another R&R on Sports. We appreciate you being with us here.
Peace out.
And we always say goodbye in our own inimitable ways during this part of the show.
We'll holler.
Inimitable ways.
See you.
Want to ask you all to please go to randronsports.com. That's our website. You can get podcasts of all our interviews, past interviews and current interviews, and you can get shows, and you can see our commentary. That is the central place to be for all things R&R, and I want you to go there. The address again is R&R on Sports.
That's R-A-N-D.
Yes.
A-N-D-R. R-A-N-D on sports.com.
R-A-N-D-R.
Yeah.
On sports.com.
On sports.com.
And then you can like us on Facebook there too. We need some more likes. Y'all like us. You tell us that all the time. You let us know that you like us. Like us on Facebook. We need that.
Make us feel good.
Yeah.
Boost up our self-esteem.
We're old and we need low self-esteem. low self-esteem.
Speak for yourself.
Next week, we've got Dr. Harry Edwards that's going to join us and give us the perspective.
It's going to be an extra long interview.
From the Muhammad Ali funeral. And
he's also going to talk about LeBron. He's going to talk about LeBron and where LeBron fits in the whole scheme and history of professional sports.
You don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it.
So be with us again and have a great week. Everybody live, laugh, love as much as you can. We will be back. Be safe. Be good. We're out.
Ciao, baby.
R&R on Sports is recorded live at LPI Studios in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Web designer Daniel Coates, executive producer Larry Robinson. LMAO segment written by Howard Robertson. R&R on Sports, part of the Kazukian Network.